What's up, friend? I heard that you were having troubles in math, so I wanted to make you a video log to kind of help out a little bit. So I'm going to teach you the product rule right now. Now, when you're finding a derivative and you're trying to find a derivative of a function, let's call it f of x, that has two functions inside that could be separated, and we're going to call them g of x and z of x. You're going to have to use the product rule. And the product rule says that you need to take g of x times the derivative of z of x plus z of x times the derivative of g of x. And then simplify that and you'll get your answer. So let's start with an example. Let's start with something fairly easy. Let's try f of x equals x squared times x plus 4. Alright, so we have our two separate functions inside the entire thing here. So g of x we say can equal x squared, and z of x we say can equal x plus 4. So we have to take g of x times the derivative of z of x plus z of x times the derivative of g of x. Let's write all that out. X squared times the derivative of z of x, which is x plus 4, plus z of x, which is x plus 4, times the derivative of g of x, which is x squared. So now we can begin to solve. We have x squared times this derivative, which is just 1, plus x plus 4 times this derivative, which is just 2x. Simplify, and we have x squared plus, we can distribute this, 2x squared plus 8x. Combine like terms here. So we have 3x squared plus 8x, and that is our derivative. Okay, now let's try something a little bit harder. We're going to throw some trig in there. So we have, same as before, g of x and z of x. G of x can equal 4x squared, and z of x can equal sine x. Alright? So just like before, we're going to take 4x squared, which is g of x, times the derivative of sine x plus sine x plus sine x times the derivative of 4x squared. So now we can solve for that, and we get 4x squared. The derivative of sine x is just cosine x, and plus sine x, derivative of 4x squared is just 8x. Now we're pretty much done, but we can write this in nicer form here, so we're just going to take 4x squared cosine x plus, we can push this in front of the sine x, it's just a better way to write it, 8x sine x, and we have our derivative. Okay, we've done an easy one, a medium one. Now I think we're ready for a hard one. Same as every time, we take our two functions here. g of x can be 3x squared, z of x is root 4x minus 1. Now, for this, we're eventually going to have to find the derivative of this alone, and that's going to use the chain rule, which can be hard to work out in your head, so we're going to write it out here. Let's go root 4x minus 1. That can just be rewritten as 4x minus 1 to the 1/2 power. Now we can use the power rule for that. 1/2 4x minus 1 to the negative 1/2 power. But now we have to use the chain rule and take the derivative of this inside function here, which is just 4. So we combine all this. We can put the 4 in and the 1/2, combine it to make 2. But since this is a negative exponent, we can just put it as a fraction on the bottom. So we can have 2 over 4x minus 1 to the 1/2, or you can write that also as 2 root 4x minus 1. They mean the same thing. So now that we have this derivative of z of x, we can go back and apply it to the product rule. So we have our original equation, g of x, which is 3x squared, times the derivative of root 4x minus 1, which we found over here using the chain rule, plus root 4x minus 1 times the derivative of 3x squared. So we have 3x squared times 2 over the square root of 4x minus 1 from before that we found, plus root 4x minus 1 times this derivative, which is just 6x. Now, since this is a fraction, we can just put this on top here, put the 2 in, so we get 6x squared over root 4x minus 1, plus, we can just put this in front of the square root because it's a little bit neater, 6x root 4x minus 1, and that completes our derivative. Alright, that's all for my little video log on product rule. I hope it helps.